there are kind of 2 clips in here that are just kind of hidden. I do like to cut those because I don't need 4 clips along the back. 2 are enough. So I usually pry this out a little bit and cut that one. So now I've got this one to get out. So looks like that one's out. And this one to get out. So that one's out. We got a couple down here up front. Kind of 2 right on the face here. And these are pickles as well. Actually, I think I'm going to trim these up. So I just use them flush cuts and kind of trim off the face of them a little bit. Oh, my front one's popped back in. Okay, just have these 2 left down in here, and this is where a little bit bigger screwdriver comes in handy. Just got to verify these. Oh, there we are. Okay, that one's bypassed. Yeah, let me bypass this one. That one's bypassed. Okay. I think going back to what I had originally, we are getting close to which ones am I missing? That, those, starting to make some headway. As you can see here, trying to get this opened up. I just have to go back and unsnap all these that have been unsnapped previously. There we go. I think I pretty well got it, unless one of these went back in. No, we're good there, we're good there. There we go. Alright, 2 halves. So, bottom half, top half. Had some pieces I cut out in there. So like I said, I cut these 2 tabs off the back because I will still have these 2 tabs, still have these 2 tabs, and the 2 tabs on front. So I got 6 tabs holding this together, which is enough. Thing I like about this, plenty of room for everything to work. Plenty of room for the servos, plenty of room for add some weights on the bottom. Yeah, I'll put some, I've done BBs. I actually might cut out some steel plates and put in there to get a little extra weight. Got enough room for the battery. I will normally trim out some of these edges so this battery sits down there a little bit easier. Place for the battery, place for all the electronics, so that's good. So now that we got this opened up, we can remove this top part from before. Actually, at this point in time, some needle nose pliers squeezing that in works well. Pop that out. Again, don't need that, so we'll throw that away. And pop that out. And don't need that. So now we have a place for our servos to go. We'll basically stick these down in there. On each side, I have 3D printed spacer blocks, but actually I will have to test to see if these spacer blocks work and have the spacing the same as my last servos I used. So I might do a little bit of trimming up on this, or trimming up in here. I might just change the design so they fit in well. Some trimming that needs to be done. You can use X-Acto knives, flush cutters. Flush cutters are very handy. Dremel tool. Dremels are great. Dremels. But this needs to be trimmed off down here to make room for that servo. So I'll just kind of keep prying that off. So I'll just kind of keep doing some clipping down there. Ooh, watch your eyes. Just came up at my nose. So trim that down. Get this out of there. Okay, the other thing I like to do, just so we have a good surface, because we will actually glue these spacer blocks in place and then bolt the servos in. I take a flat face file and just kind of file that down a little bit, get that bridge off there. So I'll do a little cleaning up like that, and then the servo will basically be just kind of flush on the front here, go upside down like that, and this stick out. I will need to make this hole a little bigger, and also for the servo to fit, these ribs right here are in the way, so we'll have to trim these ribs down so that the servo fits in there properly. You can see that as we put this here, it's rolling around on me. As I put this in here, it's going to sit kind of at an angle. So again, doesn't need to take a whole lot out. We'll just take these flush cuts and I'll trim down these a little bit. Kind of hiding this from you. So you can see those pieces go flying. So you can see we just trimmed that out a little bit there as well. And now the servo will be able to fit down in there and have plenty of room to sit in there and sit square. So that'll work out pretty well. I just need to open this hole up a little bit for this to be large enough. So to do that, I'll get a step bit. I just had a step bit and I set it down here. So grab my drill. And we're going to set my step bit. Again, probably right under my nose. So, yep, it is right here, right under my screwdriver. Oh, didn't get in there. It wasn't on the index. There we go. So now I'll take this end about one more. do the same on this side. 1, 2. So now let me get rid of some of that plastic. So now this servo will basically, get the wire out of the way, will sit about like that. I might need to come out just a little more. One more hole size. And so now that will basically go into there, and we'll test fit the sprocket. So let's go and do a test fit on the sprocket real quick. I'm going to set this off to the side. Get that cleared off. And let me grab my sprockets. Okay, so I will just pop this cap off. After I print it, I got to do a little bit of sanding and fitting. So this is a tight fit. I don't want it falling out as I'm driving around. So let me grab. Actually, got some screws right here. Just got some simple screws here. I'll drill this out just a little bit. Kind of drill me some pilot holes. So I'll get my little M12 electric impact, and you can see my nice little 3D printed trays over here. I got trays for my bolts and nuts and bearings and screws and drill bits, other bits, and that should be good. So I'll kind of just drill a pilot hole so it screws in easier. So now we can see basically this, what do we call it? Whatever we call this, servo mount, whatever. Can't think of the terminology right at the top of my head. One of you guys will comment and tell me. It just escaped me. And we'll screw this on here. So we get 4 screws in here. So total video time, we're up to like 30 minutes, something like that. And this is coming a long way pretty quick. This, if you get good at it, you know, this could be an hour build, maybe 2. I guess by the time you start putting LED lights in and stuff like that, that'll take a little more time. We'll go over that here after a bit. But not a hard deal. Again, I'm just using a couple 3D printed parts, handful of parts off of Amazon. And there we go. So there's our drive sprocket all set up for the servo. So what we want to look at, we want to look at the alignment of this idler. And when we add the sprocket, we want this chain, or the drive sprocket, to line up with the idler. So this is going to be basically almost hovering right off the back here to stay centered. So as I stick this in here, kind of just test fitting at the moment. So I put this on there. It's not bad. It's really, really close. So I just want to look at that alignment there. It's really good right there. So I need to make sure my spacer, I might need to redo my print because this is kind of, you can see a big gap there. If I put this in, I want to be large enough. So I'm going to leave that just like that. I'll take this off for now. But I need to take this spacer and increase the thickness of it so that when this goes in there, it's all nice, tight, and flush. So when I look at that, this is obviously going to be way too loose. I need to open that up almost at least 1/16 of an inch. So grab my digital mic. My battery's going dead. Drives me nuts. I need to get some extra batteries at work. I need to go grab one. So I zero that out, change it to inches, get this held in here where it goes, and try to get a decent reading on that. A little bit more. 0.413. We're going to round that up to 0.415. I'm going to set this to the side. Don't know how well this will work. I'll let you guys kind of see what I use for doing my drawing. So I'll try this. If it doesn't work, I'll do a screen capture on it. So I use SketchUp. Yeah, if you're a hardcore 3D printer, you may need to go to Fusion 360 or something like that. I've been using SketchUp since about the day it came out. I've been using this thing for easily 15 years. I'm actually a Trimble dealer. Trimble bought out SketchUp, or not, bought SketchUp from Google a number of years ago. So technically, I'm not actually a dealer for the software by any means, but I sell Trimble agriculture products, and with it being a Trimble product, it just kind of fits nice in my wheelhouse. So I'm gonna just open up an existing file and modify it for these new servos. So I'll go to my 3D models, Bruder D11 files, and I've got a servo mount. So I'll open it up. So here's that file. Just something pretty simple. This fits in there well. It looks like the holes line up well, but I need to thicken this out to 4.15. So I'm actually just going to draw a new vertical line, and I can type in 0.415 on the blue axis. And so I basically want to bring this up to that point. So I'll use the push-pull tool and bring it up to that point. Oh, sometimes you got to zoom in if it's not an even increment. And that happens to me every now and again. I'll just kind of draw a face. And then I'll pull this up to the edge of that face. There we go. So now I got the proper height. One thing I noticed, this servo has a little kind of gusset in there, you might say. So I'm actually going to just take out of the file that thing. So right centered, oops, again, replace my battery. We'll go for an 1/8 inch. So I need to just open up an 1/8 inch area in here. So I'll turn this around here. I'll snap a line from there to there, and I will come over 1/16 and draw it in, come over 1/16 and draw it in, do the same over here. I could get really fancy and put it on an angle. Honestly, I just want a cavity for that to go. So get rid of that, get rid of that, and that. I'll delete that face out of here. And now it looks like this this comes down. Oh, I'm just going to round it out 3/16. That'll be more than enough. So I'm just going to drop this down 1, 2, 3/16. Actually, it came down 1/8. That looks good. So just a little gap, so when that sits in there, these gussets will fit in there all right. So now I'm going to save this, save as, and I'll just call this servo mount. And this was a TIANKONGRC, whatever that name is, that servo. I'll just name it as that. Hit save. I'll export this as an STL file, export, and I'm going to go print this. If you're not familiar with 3D printing, you need a slicer program. I use Cura. So I was just printing some parts earlier, so I'm going to clear this out, and I'm going to load a new file. I'll load that new servo mount, and I'm going to go and make 2 of them. So I'm going to multiply this, and I'll hit slice. I just saved them to a micro SD card. It's going to take about an hour and 45 minutes. So I'll hit save. And now save this card. And we'll go start the 3D printer. So I'm going to take this GoPro over with us. So you can kind of, we're not going to do a time lapse on the printer. Tools out of the way. Okay, sorry if I'm making you motion sickness. Let's power this on here. And pull my old SD card out from my last print. Pop this new one in. And now I'll click Initialize. Print. Servo mount. And there we go. I got a black PLA filament. This is a 1.75 millimeter PLA filament. I love PLA. Not the most durable thing in the world, but for hobby craft use, it's been working great. Again, this is an Ender 3. Got about 8.5 inches length, width, and height, so I can build some pretty cool stuff. One of these videos I'll show you all the kind of stuff I've made. But we'll come back in a couple hours and hopefully these will be done.